hints of plans to slowly phase out teacher trainee allowance and implement an enhanced loan scheme.
Back in Parliament, Deputy Speaker defends his management of the Appointments Committee, insisting he cannot be blamed for chaos. Meanwhile, security has been beefed up as parliamentary proceedings resume.
Also to come, Labour serves notice of demanding better conditions for workers as government begins discussions on base pay. You're live on News Central. I'm Kevin Yamano.
And I am Mawina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. Well, starting off from the education front, where the minister responsible for education, Haruna Idrisu, says government intends phasing out teacher trainee allowances by implementing an enhanced loan scheme. Speaking to leadership of the Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, the minister argued all tertiary institutions must be brought to the same level. The subject of trainee allowances has been controversial for the two main parties in the last couple of years. Despite being scrapped by the previous NDC government, the NPP government restored it, but it appears the current NDC government wants to approach the issue differently. Let's walk you through what the minister has been saying in this latest, as we've been getting news reportage. And we'll be hearing from him directly, really, with respect to exactly what it is that he's been saying. But here's a quote for you as to exactly what he's been saying when he met the principals of the colleges of education. And that is that there's no way that you should be feeding a student at the tertiary level. We can narrow feeding to basic and free senior high schools, but at the tertiary level, students should be able to take care of themselves. And that goes on to say that in the interim, we will continue with the feeding allowances, but we will transition to an enhanced student loan system. Let's get onto the phone lines right now. Speak to Dr. Peter Partey, he's the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. He's joined us for a quick reaction to this. Doc, I appreciate that you can speak to us. What you make of this latest approach to review the allowance system in the training colleges? We know the idea has been mooted for quite a while, but it's suffered due to the political nature or the political tone it's taken. Now we're hearing it from the Education Minister again. The way to go in finally phasing it out?
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, I think that is the way to go. ISES have talked about this over the years. We've been against the payment of the allowances because we realized that the allowances could be channeled to improve teaching and learning in our colleges of education, especially when these students are seen as tertiary students doing 4-year degree programs and their colleagues in the universities are taking student loan. What you have to then do is to also facilitate these students to also access the student loan, and that is why I think it's in the right direction, and we applaud the minister for taking such a bold step.
All of this is coming ahead of what is expected to be the Education Forum, which the government says will seek to review, amongst many other things, education on the different sectors and the different spectrums. This decision to review the payment of allowance, we're being told, will run parallel to the student loan system. How long should this pilot, if we can call it that, run before it is essentially phased out? Because we know that the payment of allowance is a big financial issue when it comes to the education sector.
Yeah, I think this can be done for possibly 1 year. 1 year to ensure a smooth transition from the payment of allowance to the student loan system. So within the 1 year academic period, the modalities can be put in place to ensure that our students in the colleges are also able to access the student loan. I think what we need to focus is that there should be urgent disbursement and incrementing the student loan. And I think that should be what the government should be doing. It should be looking at the student loan trust fund should be made to be more efficient in their delivery of the loans and to ensure that students do not get into the academic year while their loans have not been paid. The normal operation is that sometimes in the middle of the semester, that is when the loans are paid. Sometimes they have to wait till the end of the semester. But they need the money for accommodation. They need the money for payment of school fees and other things. It is therefore important that even as the government is taking this step, they streamline the operations of the loan trust fund to ensure that these monies are released weeks before the reopening to enable them to pay their fees and pay for their accommodation, and also increase the amount that is available so that it will help them cover their financial expenses.
The blowback in all of this is the political nature of this conversation. Allowances which are paid to not just teachers but nurses as well. We know that in the NDC manifesto, this idea of replacing the allowances with loans was captured. But on the political platform, now President Mahama had promised that it was going to be sustained. How does the government going forward begin to want to deal with the blowback? Because already reactions suggest that people are making the argument that they voted for them based on the fact that there was that promise on the campaign platform that the allowance will be maintained.
Let me be frank and open with you. I think that it will depend on the communication that will go with it. Ideally, I was thinking that this announcement could have waited till the forum is complete, so that the issues that will be discussed and the consensus that will be built will come with this kind of decision. But unfortunately, it's already out there. I think it's the communication that will go with it. I think that we should let the students understand that it is not feasible, it is not economically efficient to continue to pay them the allowances. The right thing to do is to enable them access the loan and then channel the money that will be saved for the allowances to improve the infrastructure on their campuses. I think the communication is what is going to be very important, and I believe that the Ministry of Education and this team are capable of handling this communication so that people will not be agitated, as you said, have started.
Doc, I appreciate that you could speak to us. That's Dr. Peter Partey, and he's Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, speaking to us, making the argument strongly that the communication really as to how this will be handled going forward is what will be most important, and the fact that perhaps this should have waited until that education forum which the government has planned in the offing. But we can hear from the minister now, who's been explaining the education forum to be organized by government, which will look further into this matter.
More importantly, you raise the issue of student allowances. It will continue. Subsequent to the Education Forum, for which I have the pleasure to invite you to come, we'll take some major decisions based on the recommendations. But off-head, there is no way you should be feeding a student at the tertiary level off-head. So we have to work out a transition from the allowance into an enhanced student loan for them to feed themselves. But in the interim, they will still get the allowances. Then just the next very few months going forward, subject to the recommendations of the committee. But I cannot conceive of a student in a higher education institution being fed. We can narrow feeding to basic and to free senior high school, but at the tertiary level, so they will still get enhanced student loans to be able to feed themselves. But in the interim, we will continue with the feeding and then phase out the allowance process, subject to the recommendations of the Education Forum.
Haruna Idrisu, Education Minister there. Let's stay on this subject and talk to Swale Razak, President of the Teacher Trainees Association. Swale, I appreciate you talking to us, but the Minister seems to be of the opinion that it's time teacher trainees are transitioned into a scheme, a loan scheme that is, rather than the allowances you get for free.
Yes, good afternoon, and good afternoon to all my colleagues in the colleges of education. We have just heard from the minister looking for ways of sustaining feeding and then the allowances in the colleges of education. To us as students, this comes as no surprise at all, because we have long been pushing for a sustainable way and equally how to better feed the colleges of education, because if I tell you, in fact, if you go to the colleges of education, the food that is being served to us as students is nothing to write home about. For some time now, there have been efforts to improve the senior high schools and the traditional university, leaving the colleges of education to one that our infrastructure has nothing to do about. That is causing all these challenges. But talking of the teacher training allowance, something the last thing we would want to be cancelled as students, because the idea or the brain behind the reintroduction of the teacher training allowances in 2017 are something that is good, and then something that we should encourage. And then even more so, we should be looking at increasing the teacher training allowance from the amount that it is, so as to be able to make the feeding in the colleges of education better and equally help students to be able to purchase their reading and learning resources, and equally encourage them to join the colleges of education. So
I see.
What he said, like he said, is for the interim, we shall continue. What we look forward to the education forum that is to be organized very soon for us to be able to...
So help me understand. You agree with the minister on the subject of the quality of food and the fact that, you know, people in tertiary institutions like yours should not be fed by the government.
Has been put on hold. Please wait.
Swale, do I still have you?
Been put on hold.
Oh, it seems that we've lost Swale on the telephone. I was seeking clarity on whether or not they support the minister's call for the allowances to be phased out and transitioned into loan schemes or scheme loans for students rather than have the allowances. But unfortunately, we've lost him on the telephone. Perhaps we will raise him on the lines again and get the clarity. Swale, so I was seeking clarity. You agree with the minister when he says that tertiary students should not be fed by the government, because you say that the quality of food is not as great. However, on the subject of trainee allowances, you differ from what the minister's position is to transition into a loan scheme for students?
Well, I do not agree with the minister on the point that students have to feed themselves in the colleges of education. My reasons are, if you look at the colleges of education, the infrastructure, like I started with, is something that cannot accommodate students feeding themselves. That is, cooking in the colleges. Comparing them to the traditional universities, you get to realize that the universities are built, their structures are built in a way that students can be able to cook in the dormitory and equally stay. But if you come to the college of education, we clearly do not have infrastructure. We still do not have infrastructure.
Isn't it time we change that?
So, please come again. Pardon me.
Isn't it time we change that?
Yes. So it is worth looking at and then developing. So before you would be transitioning to a point where students will be allowed to feed themselves, I think we have a challenge for us to look at the infrastructure, tackle the infrastructure very well, and make sure that there is the right facilities in place for us to be transitioning to a point where students will be allowed to feed themselves.
I see. And then on the subject of the transition to loan schemes, what is the position of the association on that?
The transitioning of
scrapping the teacher trainee allowances and turning those into scheme loans for students. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, like I was saying earlier, it's something we just got a story. Now we discuss and we're currently discussing as leadership and also engaging actively with our members to see the view as to transitioning from the teacher training allowances to the loan. But currently, as it stands now, it is something that we do not want to compromise, because we are actually looking forward to an increment and not a cancellation.
Swale, I appreciate you talking to us. Swale Razak is president of the Teacher Trainee Association of Ghana, stating their position on recent developments from the Office of the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu. Now, this afternoon, Parliament is expected to sit to begin business for the 4th week. This comes in the wake of controversies surrounding the vetting of ministerial appointees and the suspension of 4 members of Parliament. Already, the minority has sent a memo to the Speaker asking him to reverse his decision amid counterclaims that have surfaced over the period. Well, what you see on your screen at the moment are live visuals of the minority caucus in Parliament, clad in red and black, signaling, the opposition on matters in Parliament. But let's get the very latest. Christian Yale is in the chamber for us, joining us with some updates. Christian. Christian, talk to us about what's on the table today. What's the mood in Parliament? Remember, we're telling you that Parliament will be sitting for its business 4th week of doing business. We also know that this is coming at a time when controversies have surrounded some decisions that have been taken by the Speaker, stemming from the conduct of some of the MPs, particularly around the vetting of ministerial appointees. We saw what happened over last week, and the statement from the minority as well. We can now listen to Christian. Christian, I was asking earlier, what's the situation there? So those are the members of the minority caucus. As you can see in your screen, Techiman South MP, Martin J. Kosa Mensah. I also see Ofuasi Erebi MP, Kojo Oponkroma. They are gathered right in front of the entrance into the chamber, obviously, wearing the colors they have chosen, red and black, to represent their position on matters that have come from Parliament over the last week. Remember that the Speaker, after the brawl during the ministerial vetting, suspended 4 MPs, 3 of them from the minority side, including their chief whip and member of Parliament for Nsawam Adwejiri, Frank Dompre. And the minority side has not been happy.
Entry into the chamber. Earlier when we came here, we saw a block or a police barricade that was mounted at this entrance. We can confirm to you that when you come into Parliament, and especially around the chamber as of now, this is the only entrance that is ushering all the MPs into Parliament. And so the understanding we have is that this barricade has been mounted and all the other gates have been closed, leaving only this one to usher in the MPs, just to ensure that the MPs who have been suspended do not get entry into Parliament. These are 4 MPs, 3 on the minority side, for which reason we have seen all the minority MPs clad in white, in black attires, and also with red bandages around their necks, some are bandaged around their head, just protesting. Earlier in front of Parliament and at the entrance of Parliament, they were chanting war songs, they were singing and saying that they are going to resist oppressors' rule, which is a point that they have been making over the period. A point that they have been making over the period, especially in all the press conferences that they have organized in the past. Let me try to see if I am able to get some of them and get their views really as to what is happening and what they make of all of this, especially with the barricade that has been mounted here. Honorable, good afternoon. So how do you take all of this, the barricade which has been mounted here? What do you have to say about it? Honorable, good afternoon. What do you make with all the barricades that have been mounted? All right, so he doesn't want to talk to me, but I'll still try to see. Let's pick some sounds from them, actually, to see what they have to say. Honorable, what do you make of this? The barricade here, we understand it's a ploy to restrict access, especially for the suspended MPs. What do you have to say, especially? Or what do you make of it? Okay, but we heard you singing war songs going to resist oppressors' rule. Why that? Why are you clad in black? What is the communication, Honorable? At the appropriate time you will speak. All right. And so she says that I'm not harassing her. I'm not harassing her. I'm just trying to get an information.
The microphone into her mouth. That's not the right way to do it.
That is fine. And so clearly they do not want to speak, but so clearly these are members of the minority caucus who are dissatisfied, and they are asking questions really about when all of this began to happen. They believe that this is not something that has happened. Honorable, so what do you make of all of this?
No comment.
Why are you clad in black?
No comment.
All right, and so no comment. All right, so right from the leadership, appropriate. Okay, so my understanding, especially from the leadership, and that is the Deputy Majority Leader, Patricia Piaget, who I tried to engage earlier, who tells me that at the appropriate time they are going to comment. And so it is a general understanding that none of the minority members will speak to us as of now until later, until they have agreed and they are actually, thought about what actually they want to communicate to the media. But that is the situation now. It is a bit easy though, but we see the marshals at the gate not allowing anyone entry into the chamber. This happens to be the only gate today. This is the only gate that has been opened, and even now it is closed. Heavy security presence, one that the minority is questioning why all of this is happening, and especially with the barricade that has been mounted here. I mean, generally, it is one that they do not like, they are against, they are protesting, for which reason we see them clad in black and also with their red bandages all around them. So we hope to see how all of this is going to happen. But the backstory to all of this, which you know, is that on Friday, January 31st, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, issued a clear directive, some raft of sanctions against some MPs who were involved in the chaos that took place during the voting the previous day, which was on Thursday, and for which reason 3 minority MPs in the persons of Jerry Ahmed Shaib, as well as Al-Hassan Tampuli, and also we know that the other person includes Frank Anodopre, who is their chief whip. All of these have been suspended, in addition to 1 extra minority MP in the person of Roxanne Nelson, Jafian Mekpo. And so that is the situation. And since thereafter, we've seen the minority attempt hold a number of press conferences in which they have condemned the decision by the Speaker to suspend their colleagues. And so that is the situation. But right now, my understanding too is that all of the minority MPs are currently being refused entry because of the bandages that they are in. I see the Takrady MP here. Let me attempt to see if you speak to Honorable. Good afternoon. What do you make of all of this? What do you make of this?
It's just not proper. I believe that the chamber is our working space, and it's appropriate and proper that we are allowed in without any undue hindrance. So we expect them to open the door for us to go and work. Because
understand is to prevent your colleagues who have been suspended from gaining entry.
To start with, the Speaker even have the right to suspend them. You are Ghanaians, you should ask that question. You have to ask that question. You don't think that is somebody else's problem. This is a subtle way of trying to suppress the happy and mighty minority.
But it's only for MPs who are suspended. So why is it that you are the minority side is not being allowed to enter the chamber? Yes.
So that's the question you should ask yourself. That's the question you should ask yourself. And tell Ghanaians that as gatekeepers, they have to deal with the matter.
So why are you clad in black? So you are you? All right, and so I just heard one of them saying that this is TV3, just reinforcing the point that they are not ready to talk to us. And so we are still trying to get some more members of parliament to talk to. Honorable, you are good afternoon. So what do you make of all of this? The situation.
We are done. What
do you mean when you say we are done?
We are going to the house.
We're going into the house. Okay, so that is him. I saw Honorable Kabiru there. Really, it's difficult getting them to speak at this moment, but we know that also the understanding we are getting is that these MPs are being refused entry into the parliament or the chamber because of the uniform that they're in, the black attires that they're in, and also the red bandages. At least for now, I can see that for those of them who are in your shots right now, many are not having their bandages on. But let's get a leader.
The most important thing is that we all know what happened, and the Speaker read his statement. We think that it was rather unfortunate. So we are just solidarizing with our colleagues, our 3 colleagues that were illegally suspended by the Speaker. As the Speaker doesn't have such powers, we've made our case very forceful. So you see us the way we are dressed is just in solidarity of our colleagues. We are going into the chamber, and definitely we hope that the Speaker will be able to listen to us. We have sent a memo and we'll be moving a motion to see.
Why is the door locked?
The door is locked because they said the instruction is for us to use only one entering point to go into the chamber. As you all know, we have about 4 or 3 different entering points, that side and this side. But they said for us to control, because of the directive of the Speaker, we should use one way so that they make sure that those who were suspended will not get into the chamber. But at the end of the day, we hope that the Speaker will make the right decision and rescind his decision. So definitely the door will be locked, will be open. But mind you, the last time when we adjourned to come in the afternoon. So that is what is going to happen.
Did you ask those suspended members to come today? Did you ask them to come?
Left to us alone, it is an illegality. So they are members of Parliament. Parliament is not a birthday party that somebody is invited here. We were all elected here. So definitely we are elected members to represent our constituency, and you cannot just sit down unilaterally to suspend members of Parliament as if they have been invited to a birthday party. This is a house that members are elected to come and represent their constituent. The decision of the Speaker is unfortunate. The decision of the Speaker is an illegal. He doesn't have that power. He has overreached his powers, and that is why you see us all in black to register our disappointment and our disapproval of that. It is a black day for our democracy if we allow this thing to stand.
Finally, should we expect your side to approve the ministerial nominees? The reports are ready.
Immediately after the Speaker gives an order, and then we walk out of the chamber. Any other person who was vetted, it is an illegality because the appointment committee under Order 217 was not properly constituted. It was not about quorum issue. It is about being properly constituted because the minority and the majority whip are mentioned in the standing orders to constitute the appointment committee before they come and say that any other member. If you read that standing order very well, it states the first deputy speaker being the chairman, the minority leader being the ranking member, the deputy majority leader being the vice chairman, the majority whip, the minority whip, and 5 other members. So we are not asking about quorum. We are talking about the committee being constituted. And Speaker himself agreed that the committee was not properly constituted. That's why in his directive he said that the selection committee must meet today to reconsider the appointment committee. By his action, he was convinced that the appointment committee was not properly constituted anymore. And you could see that day they rushed almost every other appointee to be vetted in that illegality, and we will not be part of it. When we get to the bridge, we will cross the bar. For today, we are registering our displeasure on the suspension of our 3 colleagues.
And so that is the first deputy minority leader, Habibi Jusu, just spoke to us, clearly expressing his indifference towards. Honorable, what do you have to say?
Yeah. You see, I find the whole thing like a drama. You see, in every human endeavor, there must be discipline. You see, there must be discipline. What happened the other time was a shameful act unbecoming of honorables. You see, that is why the speaker has to make sure that this thing does not recur. So the speaker has instituted a disciplinary action, and these people don't understand. I heard the other guy saying that they are not going to approve the nominees. We don't care, because we have the majority, we have the numbers to approve. You see, and you see this minority leader is very lucky that he's not among those who have been suspended. As a matter of fact, he orchestrated the whole thing. He orchestrated it. I was right there. And I can't understand why others have been suspended and he is allowed to go scot-free. And he has the time.
At the end of the day, the Speaker has called for a parliamentary probe as well as a criminal investigation to be conducted into this. Isn't that a sure way to go in getting to unravel all the details around this?
Yes, I think that at the end of the day, all those who are culpable in the whole drama will be brought to book. And I believe that the minority leader will eventually be roped into the whole thing. Yeah, my name is Bright Asamoah Brefo. I represent the good people of Bibiani.
Thank you. So that is the Bibiani Member of Parliament who we just spoke to. He's on the NDC side, on the majority side. And so you understand clearly from his commentary what it means. And so that is it. That is the situation that we have at our hand at the moment. I see Stephen Asamoah Boateng venting his spleen. Let me try to see if I can get closer to pick at least his thoughts and get to see what exactly he is saying. But as it stands, we know that they are not being allowed entry, especially due to what they are wearing, their attire and everything. Honorable Dabian, what do you have to say? Okay, so this MP is not allowing me. This MP is not allowing me to talk. Honorable, a moment. Can you? Honorable, what do you have to say? I saw you earlier venting your spleen. What do you have to say about this?
I haven't done anything.
What do you have to say about this whole situation?
I don't have anything to say. We only leave it for God.
What do you leave for God?
Whatever you're asking, that's my answer. Thank you very much.
Why are you clad in black and in these red bandages?
I don't know.
You definitely know, Honorable.
I have a right to wear anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
But you're solidarizing with your 3 colleagues who have been suspended, right?
You knew the reason. Oh, please, stop that. I have my right to speak or not. I'm not ready.
respectfully. Thank you. God bless you.
All right, so that is the Inshaeso MP, Honorable Stephen Amwa. All right, that is fine. He says he will talk at the right time, and so that is it. Nanasa for Jay is here, but let me try to get his views as well. Honorable, what do you have to say? In all of this, we know that you have already sent a memo to the Speaker expressing your views and what you have to say on all of this. Why this move that you've taken? All right, and he wouldn't talk as well. But that is the situation right now. And so right now, viewers, as you see in your shot, members of the minority caucus are being refused entry into the chamber. And they say they are solidarizing with their 3 colleagues who have been suspended. What they say is that that decision by the Speaker of Parliament was illegal and it contradicts the law. They say the Speaker arrogated unto himself powers that he does not have. And that is the clarion call that the minority MPs are making. Yesterday, they held a press conference, under which conference we saw their party executives, the General Secretary, as well as the National Chairman, were present during that press conference, in which they asked the Speaker, among many other things, to reverse his decision to suspend those 3 MPs on their side and the other one who is on the majority side. Today, they are clad in black. They say they are doing this together with their members who are affected.
30 and 35, the standing orders have provided for what will happen in an instance like this. Order 129, Order 130, the standing orders have provided. So this is not an instance where the standing orders have not provided, and therefore Mr. Speaker is making up the rules. No, it's not one of those.
Now, the special committee has your members as well. Will your members partake in the business of
Our members have not participated. Again, the standing orders are clear on what it takes to set up an ad hoc committee. You would have to consult leadership, and leadership will nominate their members. You heard Mr. Speaker say that he himself has elected to put some people on the committee. Again, that is in flagrant disregard of the standing orders, and that's why we will not be able to comply with that.
Finally, from me, the appointments committee report. Some of them you told already.
Now, a question is being asked about the appointment committee report, whether they would take a decision on the nominees.
I haven't seen the reports from the committee. When the committee brings the report of those that were vetted, we will exercise our minds to it. We do understand that some persons were vetted by the dissolved committee. We are not sure that that amounts to vetting. When it gets there, we'll address it. I'll see you guys.
All right, so that was the Member of Parliament for Ofasa Irebi. Now we can tell you that the gate has been opened, the entrance is open, and so now the members of Parliament are being ushered in. We see the first minority whip, Habib Idrisu, whipping his members into the chamber. And so the road is clear now, and the minority MPs in their black costumes are entering the chamber. And the message is clear, and it is one, really, that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, today they expect him to reverse his decision, what they term as an illegal suspension of their colleagues, 3 of them, as well as 1 on the majority side. We look forward to see really what the Speaker will do. What the Speaker will do, whether he is going to grant these requests by the minority MPs or not. But this is just the beginning. We are here and wait to see what happens. In the chamber very soon, sitting would begin, and from there we'll get to see. We know that on the table for business today, one includes the approval or not of the ministers who have been vetted, those who were vetted last week. So the chairman is going to lay that report, after which a vote will be taken on them, and then we'll see whether the minority on their side are going to vote or approve these ministers or will not. That is something that we wait to see, and we also expect to see what the Speaker is going to say, his commentary on all that has been happening, especially with the number of press conferences that have been held by the minority side. Already they have sent a memo to him. We want to see what happens really. But we know tomorrow, for instance, that there is going to be a joint caucus meeting between the majority and the minority, which is something we know from the business committee. I am Christian Yale. Take over from the studios.
Christian Diale there live from Parliament. We'll keep an eye on events there and bring you more after this break. Don't go away.
You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
An upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get way more with GoTV Super. Get big value, entertainment, get even more with GoTV. GoTV, love it.
I love President Charcoal. Why? But there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has two of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal. Pepsodent.
Hey, Tanzania more. Season 2. Tanzania more. Season 2. Tanzania more. Tanzania 2 more.
Voice yet abakwan. Obo appointed ba.
Because in fact, you have appointed case in there. And my hand.
I do like I know here, but my team now. Give me one now. Share my team now.
This is the show that brings finality to all the critical issues. It is the stage where all the facts are checked, issues thoroughly interrogated, and just talk. Happenings in society, from politics to health to education to everything you deem important. And we will center the voice of the ordinary Ghanaian. This is the show that sets the agenda.
Agenda now shows on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Happy New Year from all of us at 3FM at 92.7. We're grateful for your support over the years and can't wait to achieve even more together in 2025. To kick off the year, we're bringing you 3FM Fit Start, a transformative 60-day program designed to get your team fit, energized, and motivated for success. Health is wealth, and we know that healthy, motivated staff are the heartbeat of any successful business. That's why 3FM Fit Start offers life-changing holistic coaching, fun and engaging challenges, personalized diet plans to boost energy and productivity. And here's more. If you register 10 or more of your staff, you will enjoy an exclusive interview on 3FM 92.7 to spotlight the company's commitment to employee wellness. Let's make this year extraordinary for your people and your business.
3FM Fit Start is sponsored by Duffy's Health and Beauty, Bill's Microfinance, the U-Gel Premier Water, and supported by Blue Skies and the Ghana Medical Association.
Start strong with 3FM Fit Start. Healthier teams, stronger businesses.
Well, starting from the Ashanti region, now following the outbreak of meningitis and its associated deaths in the Upper West region, the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate has stepped up monitoring to prevent the spread of the disease. Though the region is yet to record a case between January 1 and now, the health authorities say they are mounting strategies to ensure that people do not die from the disease needlessly. All district health directors in the region have converged at the Regional Health Directorate for briefing and mapping up of the strategy on the issue. Ibrahim Abubakar has been observing the meeting, is joining us right now with quick details. Ibrahim, talk to us. Has that meeting ended and what are they walking away with as with regards plans to ensure the disease does not reach the region? Ibrahim, what can you tell us from this meeting? Well, it does appear we cannot hear Ibrahim. Let's hear from the Regional Director of Health who's been speaking to my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar.
And the hospitals have been intensified to mount out what we call surveillance. The problem with meningitis is that when you get it, the likelihood of dying is so high if you really are not conscious and detect it early. And that's the very reason why we are here. Secondly, spreading from one person to other is also very high. And so that's the reason why we are here. We do what we call surveillance. Every week, we record cases of these meningitis that we are suspecting, confirming in our labs. What I will say to all health facilities and districts, if the malaria test or the test for fever for malaria is negative, please look for a different cause of this fever, especially in this season. Don't say your malaria is different. And we need this for early confirmation. For all of us, what do we need to do? Hand hygiene with soap and running water or sanitizers. The use of masks when we are coughing or we have cold. As much as possible, let's avoid overcrowding. Then adequate hydration. And more importantly, if you have any of these signs and symptoms, let's report early to any health facility.
Staying in the Ashanti region, because we know that the management of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they've asked the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, to investigate officers who were deployed to the Nana Kunamansa Park in Swatre during the march between Instratraman and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, which resulted in the death of Eric Nkansa, known popularly as Poli. According to them, the police on duty at the stadium were complicit in the violence which claimed a life over the weekend. Management of the Kumasi-based club has put on hold all football activities after the brief meeting with the IGP. William Evansinkum is joining us right now because we also know that the IGP has been visiting the family of the deceased. Evans, how was mood like in both places where the IGP visited?
Well, so Mawana, let me just quickly correct this. So his name is Yafrin Pong. That is his name, popularly known as Poli. But I can tell you that, yes, I can tell you that, I mean, it was a mixture of a sober reflection and then anger. Anger in the sense that the management of Kotoko, it was just uncalled for. It was something that could have been avoided. And they are partly blaming the police of not doing enough to avert, I mean, the situation. Something that the IGP also took cognizance of. And I remember at a point in time, he was even telling his commanders that maybe their boys could have done better in arresting the situation from it being escalated. But it's something that the IGP has also pledged or assured management of protocol that there's going to be a full-scale investigation across board just to unravel what might have caused that unfortunate incident. And of course, if anybody, even including the officers, are found culpable, then they will be made to face the full sanctions as far as police administration is concerned. But to the family of the deceased, what the IGP is also saying is that they are also going to launch a full-scale investigation to unravel the cause. That assurance has been given to them. The IGP, of course, has also promised the wife of the deceased that he's going to give her a clinical psychologist so that that person will also help her, her mental recovery as far as this particular situation is concerned. Of course, the IGP has also assured the family, that is the mom of the deceased, of their full support. Mauna.
Right then, Evans, thank you very much for those details. Let's quickly listen to the interactions between the IGP and then management of Kumasi Asante Kotoko from earlier.
Time as MBC, time as sports minister, we are free, we are also free, and a my teacher, a my crash, say, what I a Jumano, Mobayama, Mumba, Assembly, Pharmacy. Now, I get back what a sea at the Dimu Yao Kakra, and say, and I would share almost a the first call of first aid. As for assembly, can see now officers are all crowd and Ranty, supporters, airship, or office police officer, a tuition road down. Will be crab videos, maybe. I don't know what this room will be. About put down on watching the home and actually the cost. It's not meaning, sir. Woman are more back to as independent a year mobile way.
We'll stay on this story because the Nswatcher Traditional Council has condemned the uncouth behavior of some of the football fans that led to the untimely death of an ardent supporter of Kumasi Asante Football Club. This unfortunate behavior happened on the stool land of Nswatcher, which was seen as an unfortunate incident due to the cordial relationship between Nswatcherman and Asanteman. Bono East region correspondent Belinda Tete is joining us a little later for a bit more on the story. But let's listen to the Traditional Council on this matter.
Sa adena court no entwa yie. If you say football,
what happened is unacceptable. Football is supposed to be entertainment. It is not a fight. We condemn the incident and want to assure Kotoko's management and the people of the Ashanti region that we have always been at peace with them.
Sure, Kotoko management and Ashanti say. This
is football and should clearly unite us. We apologize and send our condolences to the Asante Hene and the family of the deceased. We will work with the police to fish out the culprit. We are certain that if the culprit is found, that would at least calm down tension a bit. People will be confident that at least something is being done about it.
Mass departure of young people from Gomwa Obuasi in the central region to mining areas to engage in illegal mining activities is happening. This is as a result of the absence of employment opportunities in the area, raising concerns among residents. Akwesi Yado has more in the story. He's been tracking for a while now. Akwesi, good afternoon. Now, give us a sense of how dire the situation is in the central region.
Okay, so Gomwa Obuasi happens to be the biggest in size and population in the Gomwa Central District of 2020. And right now, if you go to the community, a lot of the youth members have departed from the community. And what they're doing is they are seeking for better life elsewhere. And the areas of focus for them have been the mining areas, and they do engage in illegal mining activities when they enter into such places. And this is becoming a concern to stakeholders, because once they leave the community and then the next destination becomes the illegal mining areas, it means that they are getting involved in illegalities and placing their own lives at risk. And so we have been engaging with some youth members of the community as well as parents who are struggling to find jobs for their children in the community, and these are some of their concerns.
Like some companies and small works, to develop our community so that the young ones will get work to do.
You come here the menu adwuma titi bia ni ha tise kube ya na yede boy ho ban kaka nkata adwuma bia ni ha nti ye hiambo na here no mbie company na ma say ye young boy say yes so obi ko school bia nko school nti o mbie adwuma okuro mu abe ye de na ye adwuma so aye na boy sense ye ho atọ ye adwuma Kennedy atam
adwuma ma same ye tin wo kuma pa wo yo school won ya adwuma ye nan kan SS fu wo yo school na wo guma ese wo to kwan kwa akra kala me se ase asan wa ka ye adwuma nti nya ban dan ko baba bo yen kan kan ti se bo yen nya afu ye ye we ogba mi ama mo we SS na kan wa dan we peja wa amen nti mi ama mo wo nya adwuma ba guma ba.
Some residents of Gumwabwase there earlier was Akwesiado, our Central Region correspondent.
Away from the regions, we're returning to the capital Accra and taking you to the Legislative Chamber, where my colleague Christian Yale is stationed for us earlier. You saw footages where the minority, clad in black with red bands, were not allowed to enter the chamber with the red bands on. They finally made their way onto the floor of the House. Let's take you there right now and get details as to what's happening.
The number of them who are seated, who are clad in their black costumes, in their black attires. Some are also in red. I see the Deputy Minority Leader, Patricia Piaget, in red. I see the former Deputy Finance Minister, Abinose Asare, who is also in red, and a few others who are in red bandages as well. And so that is how it looks like. I see members on the majority side who are also coming in. But if you hear some bye-bye in your sound, that is a way of the minority MPs welcoming Lydia Ayamba. If you've been following the vetting proceedings keenly, she's been noted for usually saying bye-bye to the nominees and also asking them to take good care of themselves. And so that is what the minority are currently doing, saying bye-bye to Lydia Ayamba. So that is it. But just as it is, the expectation is one really, and we are keenly looking forward to the Speaker of Parliament coming to take his seat and then proceedings would begin. But what we know from the minority side especially is that they want the Speaker of Parliament to reverse his decision to suspend the 4 MPs. Also, when you look at the order of the day or the order paper, one of the things that we're looking forward to happen here is the submission of the appointment committee report by the chairman, Bernard Ahiafo, after which a vote will be taken whether to approve or not. And even with that one, we are also expecting to see whether the minority MPs are going to take part in that. What we are also trying to do right now is to keep an eye to see whether any of the suspended MPs will be cited. But just as we showed to you earlier, outside the chamber, that block is there, that police barricade is there with the security highly tight, ensuring that none of the 4 who have been suspended comes in to take part in the sitting. What we know is that even yesterday, from the minority side, we saw the likes of Jerry Ahmed Shaib and the rest, Frank Anodompre, who were here at least not in the chamber, because that wasn't a setting. The order and the suspension notice which the Speaker gave was to ensure that they are not taking part in sittings. So what it means clearly is that these suspended MPs can take part in or can come around, be in their offices and undertake any activity, but shouldn't be in the chamber to take part in any form of sitting for 2 weeks, which started last Friday, the January 31st. And so that is it. What we are looking forward to is how things unfold in the chamber, how the sitting takes shape in the chamber. So far, that is all that has been happening here. And as and when the update come in, we'll finish with all of that. But also within the week, especially for tomorrow, we know that the special committee, which has been formed by the Speaker to investigate the chaos, would begin public hearings into all the cases and all the issues that have been brought before them. We know yesterday they held their maiden press conference in which they even announced a WhatsApp number on which members of the public can submit any media content that they have concerning the chaos that took place on Thursday to them for them to be scrutinized. And so as and when that also happens, we'll bring you the details. Then we know that there's going to be a proposal, there is a proposed joint caucus meeting to happen between both sides to address, in the words of the Majority Leader Mahama Yariga, to address some pertinent issues regarding issues in Parliament. I am Christian Yale, back to you in studio, and whenever there is any update, we'll bring you up to speed.
Do that, Christian Yale in Parliament for us. The majority side does look quite empty, though.
Yeah, and we need to talk about that at some point.
Yeah. Because 183
plus.
That's quite a number.
We expect more work.
The expectation is that there'll be a lot more of them on the floor of the House, conducting the business that took them there, most importantly. And so that's it. But that's our bulletin. As Christian mentioned, as and when further development, expectation is that we'll be live there. I am Mawina Egbeta.
You want to pay attention to our socials and YouTube. We'll bring you updates there as well. Next is the afternoon show. I'm Kemini Amano. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is my ladies tonight. You are showing me some. Well, with your permission, can I ask them to decide?
Very well.
All right, let's go. Ladies, decision time.